Finally getting this frame upholstered, it's time to move on with some inner spring cushions. I'll start by measuring out for some burlap panels to cover these springs. Allow a couple inches for each side. Looks like 25 by 34. I cut the burlap panels with a selvage edge on the ends. I'm going to start by folding that over on the bias. It works out good about 1 3/4 inches to take up a pleat here. I'll cut back on this pleat just a little bit so that the hem will lay back flat. I'll turn these back and match up the selvage ends. Start sewing the two panels together. Got the machine set on a small stitch since this is such a loosely woven material. It won't really go under a lot of stress though. Match up these corner pleats and snug it up. Sew on around the corner. Okay, I'll turn this out and insert the springs. Round in a little corner here to go back into that crevice. This 32-inch pattern repeat has been brutal on my layout. I've got nearly 3.5 yards of fabric to work with here, and because I've got a 34-inch panel with a 32-inch repeat, I'm not able to make a seam allowance between the two cushions. I'll lay this cushion face over the fabric and match up the pattern. I'll lay out the boxing for the cushion, make my seam allowance. I've got 1 inch up above the line. It doesn't hurt to do these marks in several places. Sometimes the pattern might crawl a little bit. It looks like these marks are all running pretty straight, so I'll scribe this off with a long straight edge. Easing this cord around the corner, allowing about a 1/4 inch makes the corners finish off a lot nicer. I'll overlap these about 1 inch, trim them off. Pull these back and run out a few threads. I'll turn these ends back and take up a 1/2 inch seam. Pull this panel back and lay the two cords together. I'll trim them right here at the seam line. Sew it down. I'll start here on the front corner and match up this pattern. Turn it back and play with a little bit there. Pull these corners up, square them up and mark them. Line up my mark on this back corner and work with it. I'm going to start about an inch in from the edge here. I'm going to stop a little bit short of the corner on this third side, allow for a larger opening. This cushion's ready to stop. To finish my project, I had to drag out and dust off my Lochner stuffing machine. This thing's very heavy, takes up a lot of space. It's got a foot pedal that bruises and bloody shins. But when you need one, you need one. So let's get this job wrapped up. I'm 40 years into this trade, and I'll tell you, to this day, cushions are one of the most frustrating things to get right. I've found that I like to have 5 layers of cotton on the surface of my cushions. Start with a couple of them oversized here. I'll set in 3 more layers of cotton. These 3 are cut to the same size as the cushion dimension. They'll be just a little bit larger than the Marshall unit. Set the Marshall unit in place and work with the cotton. Set in 3 more layers on top here and work them out a little over the edge. Last 2 layers over the top, center them and let them hang over a little bit. I'll turn these ends back, and when I made these 3 panels here, I had some leftover strips of cotton. They're about the same height as the spring unit. I'm going to work with those and put them in here. After this all gets pulled together, that'll be about 4 layers on the ends and 5 layers on the top. Slip the cover up over the end of the machine, lining this cord up along this side. And I'm going to relax it out. Tighten this up and line up my cord. I use the seam equalizer and pull this all out tight. I need to tuck just a little bit more cotton into this ear that goes down into the crevice along the arm. Finish rounding this out. I'll work this regulator in, kind of careful with it, and pull this cotton back and even up the stuffing in these corners. And I'm going to call it a wrap on this job.